If you're considering becoming an owner-operator, there are all sorts of things that you should know. You need a canoe full of money in the bank. There are all sorts of expenses you won't be aware of. You'll experience downtime, fuel costs, licensing expenses, things you may not have been counting on when it comes to getting a truck out on the road and rolling. But believe me, the expenses are huge before you start getting a return on your money. So my first tip is have lots and lots of money in the bank. My second tip is to have a good credit rating and have a good bank behind you as well, because you don't know how things are going to go with the truck. Hopefully you'll stay busy. Hopefully they'll keep you busy, the carrier that you lease on with, and you'll get lots of miles and lots of work. But there's no guarantee to anything in this industry. So my second tip is make sure you have a good credit rating and a good financial institution behind you. Something else you should have is a professional accountant and a lawyer to help you keep track of your business. These two things are essential because while you may be a good truck driver, you're certainly not a professional accountant and you're certainly not a lawyer, and you may need help and advice in both these areas. Good record keeping, highly important. So you need to keep these guys at your beck and call when you need their advice. If you are entering into business as a new owner-operator, you should have long-term goals. And part of these long-term goals should be saving for your retirement 30 or 40 years down the road. And that's something else you're going to need help with. Perhaps a good accountant can help you with that. Saving for your future, banking for retirement. Look at the long-term picture and get a professional to help you with this. Another thing to consider is your family, and this is a huge consideration. If you're single and going into trucking, well, that's one thing. But if you've got a wife and kids at home, you need to talk seriously about this move with them before you do it. Trucking as a career is extremely hard on relationships. You want to make sure that your wife is truly on board, not just haphazardly supporting you and saying she'll do her best, then finding out after a year it's not going to work out, because you've made a financial commitment by this point, and a truck payment may run for 4 or 5 years. So you've got to make sure everyone's on board for this, and you've got to realize that, and there's no getting around this, that both your wife and your kids are going to suffer from the lack of your time at home. You're going to miss birthdays and that type of thing. And you need to think seriously whether you're prepared to do that. It's a heck of a sacrifice on a family. It's a huge strain on a relationship. And had I to do it over again, I don't think I would have done it just for these reasons alone. So be aware of that. Another consideration here is your health. Getting sick away from home is no picnic. And it's going to happen when you're an owner-operator. All you can do is hope for the fact that it's not serious illness, and that you're going to be able to recover from it on the road, get back in the truck and get going again. But sometimes it's way more serious than that, and you've got to be prepared to accept that that's a possibility. Consider as well that you may have a child or a wife that gets ill while you're away on the road, and you've got to have the money in the bank to prepare for that situation, because then you're going to suffer downtime. You're going to need to be with that sick member of your family and stay with them, and you'll experience downtime because you won't be able to work through that period because you're needed at home. You've got to be with them, and it's important that you be there. But still, the truck payments keep coming out of the bank, so you've got to be prepared financially to handle that. As you've probably gathered by now, there's a whole lot to being an owner-operator and taking that big jump. What I've talked about here today is just the tip of the iceberg. Go to our website, check the description box below for the link. Go to our website, we've got a whole lot more tips there. In the meantime, drive safe, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you on the backhaul.